that we have some white and those very dark ones. So in other words, we call these as the dead ones. So no water and no white. Well, there is a nice area now on our way, so I plan to just make a Kodak moment there, okay? The genuine water would be just right. Yep. Okay, here we are. I think that's a good spot that if you just...
This is Friday, the 25th of July. We are now traveling in central Turkey, in Anatolia. You can see the mountain, you can see the mountain area at the back. We're traveling to Konya tonight, and we're going to stay at Konya for the night. That's where the dervishes are, where it all started.
In the middle of Turkey. It's called Obruk Plain.
So this is Konya, the outskirts.
So Konya and the surrounding of Konya, that is quite a big, or let's say the tons of wheat that we grow in that area. That is one of the industries in that city, that we have several flour factories, and also making those pastas and furniture, home furniture. That's another big industry in Konya these days, and some office, furniture. Today, and you can take photos inside, the museum. You can, and anything else. Yeah, when you come out to the garden of the monastery, there you can have a look at the living cells. There are all signages around, and also the kitchen area where you can see the utensils and some models of the dervishes. And yeah, that's all.
Gökhan,
Yep.
the green significance you talked about.
They
Green
say the green, the color of Islam.
So this is the place of the origin of the whirling dervishes, now effectively a museum to them. This cleansing area dates from 1512. And that's our hotel in Konya, over there, right opposite this museum and the local mosque. So very handy. You can buy your very own whirling Derbyshire hat here. This is the local felt maker. Genuine old steam irons. Multi-level shopping centre floor here. Another view of our hotel. Here you got that's the covered shopping centre still there. So again, a rooftop restaurant gives us a chance to get a sweeping view of the centre of the town. It's the shopping centre we were just in a few moments ago. That's the mosque. See the mountains in the background. Lovely breeze up here. And next to the mosque over there, that's the museum. I think it could be quite noisy here later. And of course, being near to the mosque, we have the cemetery just next door. Saturday today, on our way into the Cappadocia area. Also visiting the Caravanserai and
Carpet weaving factory.
carpet weaving, and also tonight the folk dancing show. So a long full day today. Caravanserai on the ancient Silk Route.
Looked like a fortress, as I was trying to explain to you this morning. And we said, yes, when the caravan stopped in those places, the gate that we entered, the camels coming into that courtyard, that's where they unload the goods and then store them in some of those rooms in this courtyard, and then they lock them up. Just like the safe deposits or safes at the hotels, where we put our money and our passports. So they were so, should I say, disciplined, secured, make sure that all the doors would be safe. Because the next day or the day later, when they bring them out and loading the camels, so shouldn't be any, piece of good or item, that's missing. So, protecting people, protecting, these goods. Plus, we said the missionaries, or sometimes the hordes, not a friendly visitors, but destroying a lot of these, things that they find on the way, like Mongols, early 15th century. Tamerlane, that he came actually through that region, and because some of the historians, they say maybe the cause of the damages on caravanserais, besides earthquake, would be just, because of these severe let's say, the attacks of the enemy. Imam of the mosque would go to the roof and then, following that tradition and making the call to prayer by. And underneath the mosque, you know, where we have kind of like a sheltered area, that they had originally a fountain there. So that fountain, yes, to drink water, but at the same time to do your cleansing. I think we didn't tell you yet. In Islam, you know, when we go to prayer at home or in the mosque, or if you walk into the grounds of a mosque, you always get a fountain, and this is to get your cleansing.
Probably kept the goods in here safe whilst the camels rested.
Wow. Big rooms, aren't they?
They are big storage rooms. Now we're going into the winter quarters. It snows here in Cappadocia, can be quite cold, about 3,000 feet above sea level.
Something that Sultan sponsors, of course, should be something majestic. You know, when you walk into here, it should impress you, definitely. Yes. And the platform, that where in the winter time, if they had some caravans, maybe this was the place where they would sleep too. You know, if there are maybe, I said normally maybe 15, 20. We do not know exactly how many people would be in a caravan, but if there are a few, maybe, you know, they will get them by the few inside as well. And when you look at the whole architecture of the interior, I think it should resemble you something. Looks like something that you have in your country, especially in Europe, right? Cathedral, yes, yes. Just like a church.
So this is the end of the winter quarters. Very cathedral-like with the arches.
It's like protected and then you read about it. No idea.
Slits, almost like the arrow slits in a Norman castle.
I don't know how I can see very well.
So it was first opened in 1231, just the open part, and then in 1239 the closed part.
Yes, it is. Right, this is to zoom and this is to push.
So today we're going to have our lunch in a supermarket. Something a change. How about that? Get food from the supermarket and we'll just get into the shade of the bus in the parking lot. Have an open air picnic. Feta cheese, watermelon. Look at them, but they're not, as you can imagine, very big, because all of them were carved from the solid rock, formations from tufa. Oh my God, Jesus.
Wow.
So we've arrived at Gorem.
My daughter would want to come.
That's opened as a museum. So when we finish touring in here, we're going to exit through the same place. So that means, if you maybe get tired of seeing churches, will you?
No.
You would love to see them, all right? So in case, maybe the beginning of the ramp that I told you, if you think that if you cannot make it, and then you can stay somewhere at the bottom of this ramp, because on the way back here, we're going to walk by that area that we can pick you up. Or you can come back here, sit. Usually they had a depot for food storage, and kitchens, and also there, dining, rooms too. Or when it comes to sleeping quarters, they will be usually up, on the upper levels for some security, reasons. And they could also, just lock up the entrances, to those upper, levels. So to go to the upper levels, they either used leather to climb, or maybe sometimes using the ropes, maybe monks, not the nuns, or carving steps.
Mainly active from the 4th till the 6th century.
40.
Yeah.
It will fit. Just 40.
3 of you's gonna stay up.
No.
Of course I'm joking. Yeah.
A day or days. And if you think of the whole size of this, and carving these columns here, these were not brought from outside. This is totally just carved out from a solid, layer of tufa. So when it comes to the paintings, as you see, as we said, 12th century, because during the iconoclastic, era, most of these images of the saints, had been destroyed. And it was after the Seventh Ecumenical Council in Nicaea that again they had, those frescoes back again in the churches. But this was made. Efendim.
Right.
See how tiny they are.
Lower. Yeah, okay. Lower. Okay. Lots of people there.
That's because the most convenient and secure, and no probably body will realize that there were communities living in those rocks. And also closer to the Middle East. Yeah. Well, let's look at the church first, ladies and gentlemen. And then we come out and take pictures. Please, would you please move a little bit more? Please. So there's a group there behind us. Let's not waste our time. Şöyle geçeyim ya. Şuraya da. Okay, here I am, your guide is speaking. Okay, let's fill up all the spaces, please. Now, this church that we call Apple Church, and probably has the most, colorful, one in here, and so just, carved out in a way in those basilica, style. So having the main altar behind me here and the two side altars, that's very typical in Cappadocian, churches that coming from the Trinity. So when you look at the walls, you can see the earlier paintings as well, which is very simple. See those white and the red squares, or like big crosses on the wall. So these are again the decorations of the iconoclastic era. Whereas after that, they just put this beautiful plaster on and then made those very detailed, as you see the costumes, the faces, or facial features you see given in very good details. So Jesus the Pantocrator in the central dome, and the evangelists in the corner of the main dome in those medallions, Mark, Matthew, Lucas, and John. And just above the entrance we have the Ascension of Jesus with 4 angels in that little dome. And just above me we have one of the archangels, that is either Michael or Gabriel, that one here. And the other characters see in those very imperial costumes. So these are the, coming from the royal, blood. Like Constantine and his mother, for example, that you can see there, depictions in a number of churches. So the others will be the stories from the New Testament and the Old Testament. Like here in the corner we have the Last Supper, for example. And in the wall there, if you follow my umbrella, the way I'm pointing, the crucifixion right there. And then down in the corner, we have Transfiguration of Jesus. And then next to it, we have baptism in Jordan River.
That's the entrance to the Apple Dome.
So this church, comparing to the others, I should say, is the one that perfectly giving us an idea about the iconoclastic era churches, because, you know, we have a lot of, as you see, geometric, or as I said, esoteric, or abstract, you know. See, there are lots of, say, the symbols that, you know, some of them that we do not know actually what, you know, mean. By the way, the quality of these, you know, the paintings, as you, some of, I mean, they look like maybe what? The children's, you know, drawings. These are, of course, you know, the countryside artists that sometimes traveling from one area to another. Or when it comes to the art in the capital, in Constantinople, that big church, St. Sophia, the church of the emperor, you see, or some others as well, you know, they got mosaics too, which is very, you know, opulent, you know, decorations, gold, silver, mosaics in them. Now we start with the pictures. We have two Marias on this wall, either Mother Mary or Mary, wife of Clopas, or Mary Magdalene. And in the corner, there is another figure there on that wall. That should be Saint Barbara there. As far as we know, she was beheaded by her father, pagan father. And then the wall on this side, just across from the entrance, we have again these two soldier or Roman soldiers, you know, who became saint later, like the Gregor of Nyssa and the Theodore of Caesarea. You know, there is a city called Kayseri, about 60 kilometers far from here. It's called Kayseri. But that was the one in Anatolia, because there was another Caesarea in the Middle East as well. It's representing the believers. And there are some words in Greek language on top of the cross on the right side. As they did the translation saying that, come down, I'll take your soul. So that reminds me,
It's a picture of Satan.
the devil that tried to convince Jesus, you know, from the New Testament. And the rooster. They're a simply made rooster. So I remember Peter's denying, you know, that the rooster 3 times crowed, and then Peter denies, you know, Jesus Christ or Esau.
They bought 2 big buses.
I'm sorry we can't offer a sedan.
So the dies they were using were
Have you been to Pompeii?
no.
No. We have some press.
Jesus.
To my guests. So it's going to be like approximately 10 minutes walk to the bus from here. So another 20 minutes maybe on the way. There are some gift shops near the parking lot.
Dad, I've got prospects of it. With the snow on it, 'cause it gets quite cold up here.
So then he understands she has got something to change in her nature. Because she was Jewish, and Mary was Jewish, she was also Jewish, so he has got to take
Any more than that?
But, okay, no problem.
You're welcome. So God bless all of us.
Really tall ones over there. spend a week here just wandering around, exploring all the holes, wouldn't you? People up on the top of the mountain over there as well. Looking down at it all stretched. It's incorporated into the town, isn't it? Old and new together.
They all have a
That town would really be fascinating to have a walk around, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Crossing.
Very welcome to our house.
And just have a little rest.
Okay. Well, this is a cooperative house. And when you look at the house from out, it looks small, but inside is big. The house actually built and owned by government for the last 13 years. And starting idea was mainly to stop immigration. Unfortunately, we had a very fast tourism in Turkey. And before even people figured out these areas would be touristic, the shop owners from main touristic areas like Istanbul, Kuşadası, where they had the cruise tourism, knew what was coming this way. So they were ready with their shops, carpets, because people came to areas, started to buy properties a lot cheaper, and do their visits to the houses in winter time when people needed money. So they could get a cheap source a lot cheaper. And they were ready for actually coming seasons. When the people figured out actually they were working for a man and he was asking for carpets without giving really good money for it. It was a little late, like 6 years they worked for the shop owners. Well, now what's the change here? They were white. But with silk, we're having two main problems. The first one is the light reflection. Silk's a very shiny material, and if you keep looking at it, in about 20 minutes, your eyes getting tired and very bad. Just by looking to the density of the carpet, it feels like a piece of cloth, not like even a carpet, because it's so dense. To understand the differences easily, the finest carpet they could produce over this way with wool would come with about 130 to 300 knots per square inch. And when you look at down here, the starting number would be about 400 or 500, and the one I'm holding in my hand is 2,500 knots per square inch. I mean, tek başına, orada. Genç kız. Evet, evet, İngilizce. Dedim acaba da onun annesi mi? Turkey is about the third biggest country in the world producing silk after China and Taiwan. And luckily in this region we are having a good humid. And we have around 11,000 mulberry trees, and every season more or less 360 million cocoons picked from the trees. The story is a natural circle. When you look back to the pictures over there on the wall, and the first two pictures shows the butterfly coming out of cocoon. But the come out, it's the end. when the the cocoon we have from the butterfly, we can't use that cocoon to pick the fibers because it's broken. We need continuous fiber. And when the butterfly comes out, each butterfly gives about 200 eggs. The eggs are kept for the next springtime. So they'll be put on a fresh mulberry leaves, and they will be broken, and the worms will come out. They will eat the leaves, and they will make the cocoons and become butterfly, and the story will start again. So metamorphosis. From 10 cocoons, we pick about 7 butterflies, and the rest tree naturally dies and stays as chrysalis. How they die? Because on the trees, millions of them together. The ones outer line easily coming out. The ones coming from a very center can't find way out, so they die. And thanks God actually happens that way, because on the other hand you have to kill them. But just the 3 out of 10 that we can use is more than enough. And the ones we picked are the dry cocoons, like the ones behind you here. How we make sure they're dead? With the dry sound. So once we have them ready, you have to catch the right start, but it is impossible when it's dry because there's a saracen around, and it comes with a spiderweb thickness. It's so fragile. So that's why we put them in hot water first for about 20 minutes, and with the brush the master catches the start of the cocoons. Once we get the right start from each cocoon, we take 1.5 kilometer length fiber, which is a mile length fiber. Mm-hmm. See, there we get the studs. And once the studs are out, then we need now the group of 25 to 30 of them together just to make one stronger lump. They're here. We connect them together because they're all wet, they stick together, and then we start with this machine. It'll pull the fibers out. Just because they're getting together now, they're stronger. And it'll take 20 minutes until they get empty. So when we see they're getting empty, he will keep adding new ones into the group to keep the strength inside. And the empty ones will get more transparent, so you start seeing the chrysalis coming out, just like this one. When they're all empty and you get the chrysalis out, now you're ready to go fishing. It's a great bait for the feral fish in the sweet water. And we keep also free samples for the people visiting us time to time, our Japanese friends asking, or Chinese friends asking to eat them. They are eatable. Yeah, they are. Too much proteins in the family. Our recipes. So, but mainly I tell you that to dye the wool, what we do is very early in the morning, 3:30, the boiling water ready in the kettles. And we put an undyed wool threads with a mixture of natural plants. And we boil them until we know that the wool absorbs the right color tone. And once the colors are absorbed, we take them out and wash them to take the extra color away, and then we hang them under sun for 6 hours. When the color is set by sun, it's ready to make carpet, and whatever you do to the material or the carpet, you can't fade the color again. Direct sun, take it to the picnic, use it in open areas. Direct sun, no problem. To make your blue, first you put your undyed wool thread inside the indigo water, and the very first color you get is yellowish green, so quickly. And you just bring this into air. When the air hits that, the water leaves the blue, and there you have the lighter blue. And waiting longer will make your material more blue. And if you wait it longer inside, it'll get darker blue. So you get the top light blue, and if you're happy with it, you just wash it and color change stops. But if you don't happy, you can start the process again. So you can see the bottom line is still color changing. And when you stick it back, you can go back to that yellow and start the process all over. And all the plants belongs to regions. That's why when you look at the carpets, you will see kind of colors are different than others.
This carpet's worth £250,000. It was found in a farmer's barn.
Who's that? Tito?
No, that's Atatürk.
It's too busy. Atatürk.
This way.
A vast place.
$60 also. But before we start, let's get some refreshments. That I have Turkish tea with the red hot no.
Yemekli değil misin ki? Yemekli. Bir masa yemekli masan var mı? Bir aile için yemekli masan var mı?
Let's have our antique map. Where are we? Somewhere from here, and it comes down to Cappadocia, and it runs up to the Black Sea. That's nearly 1,200 kilometers. So within the borders of Turkey, that's the longest river. It's called Kızılırmak, or Red River. Kızıl means it's dark red, like henna. You know the color the henna leaves you got in your hands. And also we have two other famous rivers in our country. That Euphrates is right here, and the Tigris. And both of them start from Turkey, but they end up in Persian Gulf, the underground
We're heading to
chain.
Erskkulek.
You know, where the Christians, especially because the date-wise was after the 4th, century AD, and in times of the attacks of the area, especially 9th century, and then we said the Mongols also came to the region when, of course, the Turks were here then, and the Persians. So the purpose of making those underground chambers was, yes, mainly to, hide in there, maybe weeks or months. So today, probably close to 60 underground cities we have in the region. And some of them are quite deep and going like about 130 feet down, which is like about 40, 45, meters deep. And those big ones, they could accommodate up to 5,000, 6,000, people in it.
Now, see the walls?
Except I wanted
There's
to
no
see
construction
kangaroos,
here.
and I didn't know they were
So
not
whatever you're
there.
going to see, it's all carved out.
Now you do.
And also, it is much, much bigger than what you will see. I told you, it's covered an area of nearly 1 square kilometer, and this is considered really a small, one in the region. And it was in early 1960s, just, by accident, they found the underground city. Just, digging on top, probably try to...
We will pay you back.
You will, I know you will.
Another $100 match.
Oh, yeah.
Go, lift it up.
Last prison. Small. Sweet.
I don't think that would appeal to most people. Getting through that.
Yeah, but there is a flower called cosmos. Yeah. Well, let's move. Would you please come a little forward over here? Let's get the other friends and let's say a few words here. So now we entered one of the wineries. Now right here, see they just made a chimney over there, up there. So instead of carrying the grapes, we, gas it, drop them in. That's right. And then, get the juice and collect it in that area. See, that's where they get their barrels of the the pots. And the light. You probably get imagine living at night here would be really, what, catastrophic? No. Claustrophobic, sorry. Just living in darkness. Yeah. Well, the next one is also a winery over there, though we said this is the depot where we are now, but it opens into that, another, winery. So 2 wineries and 1 depot, in between. And remember again, say when the siege, let's say, out there that was over, so they will be still coming in here and use those, wineries to make, their, wine.
That's where the hair is coming in.
Oh, there's how big is it? Opening, look at that. Oh my God.
Low ceiling here.
There's a bus this way.
Yeah, right. They'll be very short. I think they will. I think they're around for sure the health and the life expectancy even, worse, than today, in Turkey. Oops. Oh, there's still some coming. Watch your hand, please. Watch your hand. Watch your hand. Jugs or the ewers and their beds, because they don't have those.
Oh, the babies?
That are a bit just like, just something rolled up. Remember yesterday? In the rug place that they show you, that very thick pile, rug? That is actually made as like a nice soft, bed. So, this will be at night time, they will be pushing it into.
It's halfway up. Got it all to myself now.
Unusual for the ladies coming from the West, and they always ask, don't the women have a club like this? I say they meet usually at home. They have like 5 o'clock tea parties, and they bring their crochets and the knitting, you know, and exchanging some new styles and ideas. And that's where we have that flea market, remember? That's where it is. You can walk and have a look at these caves where those ancient settlers of the area that were living. So we're going to park the bus somewhere here in the center.
Değil mi? Hadi görüşürüz hanım.
Lira olur diyor.
Nur amca soğan senin mi?
Welcome to domates.
Buyurun buyurun buyurun.
Bizi mi çekiyor? Çek çek.
No, not this one. No, not this one. But you wonder how they got upstairs. They must have just had rope ladders or scaffolding and exterior sort of ladders to get up there. Obviously not a treasured local museum area, this all full of sort of rubbish and totally neglected. Just accept it as the backdrop to where they live, I guess. So this river is very dry at the moment. It looks fairly permanently so, but obviously has the capability to be quite big. We're standing on a bridge here, which is totally unneeded at the moment. It has 3 wide arches.
Beautiful works that displayed in Chicago. You know, there's a Turkish week, you know, there. So he's going to make you something very, very interesting. I'm not going to tell you, but probably you've never seen such an item, you know, before, unless probably you just know something about those Hittite works.
That could be interesting to buy.
That's really amazing, you know, say the piece that he's going to make, and you will see how talented and the master, you know, gentleman in this. So using the caves, that's all quite, you know, ideal. That's because you don't dry those, you know, pieces right under the sun. So therefore the temperature in those caves would be very ideal.
Master potter.
And then they would put them in the kilns, that they use electric, you know, kilns. But years ago they had the wood fire, you know, kilns as well. So this is not kind of like a mass production. This is all done by individually, like handmade works. So using the clay, red clay that come from this area, and making mostly those Hittite, you know, works with that. And the white one, they do make usually those plates that has either a beautiful calligraphy or the miniatures in them. You know, earn this money.
This is the workshops of the master potter.
So he learned good English. So, okay, so he's going to tell you. And this is Memish. You see, nobody knows Memish, and nobody knows those girls in the weaving center. You know, what they create. You saw it, right? But nobody knows Memish. But now see what's he going to make for you.
I know him now.
So you know him now, so you're lucky. All right, Erkan, we listen to you.
All welcome to our workshop. We are running a family business here for 200 years, since 1807. We are the 5th generation in the same place. He's going to demonstrate something by using the traditional kick wheel here. I think he's going to make one of the most difficult shape that we can make on the wheel, which is called Hittite wine candle. Just like this.
Okay.
It's the most special thing. It's really difficult to shape it, and he's an expert for it. Just few artists can make this shape, but he's the best because he made the record of this shape, 100 centimeter one. It's made of white clay. That's much more sensitive, really difficult to work with white clay, but he made the record from white clay. So let's watch him. He's going to make 4 different pieces, and then he will attach to each other. And for the special shapes, we are still using this sort of kick wheels. Actually, the artist who has over 20 years experience, they never use the electric ones. They always work with the kick wheel. Because they learn this art on the kick wheel. They can control the speed better. And also they don't do mass productions. They always work for the special shapes, special things they do. This is red clay. There is iron oxide inside of it. That's why it is red. There is a river passing middle of this town called Red River. We get this red clay from the old riverbed. Just seal it and then mix it with water. There is no chemical things inside of it, so it is safe before using. Before shaping on the wheel, we pass it from different machines to break the small stones and take the air bubbles out. So we can work easily with that because there is no air bubbles inside. It's very pure, very fine clay.
Oh, this is the part I think it's coming, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The circle part.
Now see that. See that, see that, see that, see that, see that. Ah.
Inside is empty now. While he's shaping, it looks so easy. If anyone wants you here, you can try.
Try.
about 2 days, and then attach the pieces each other. Because it's very wet, it can fall down easily. Just for demonstration, it will stick to the press.
How many a day you could do?
In a day, he can make 10 of these pieces, this size. But it's finished in nearly 1 month, 10 of them. Because it stays in the drying rooms for about 20 days. Slowly it's drying. While it's drying, we do some polishing process on it by using sandpaper, sometimes metal tools or a sponge. We make it finer shape, much more thinner. And then we fire them in the kilns for 8 hours in 850 degrees Celsius. After firing, if it comes out perfectly from the kiln, it's ready to use in our daily life. We don't need to glaze for the red potteries if it's natural like this. But if you would like to use it and paint it also, we will glaze on it. Let's see inside of it also. Is it empty or not? Yes, please come closer to here first. Here is my cousin. His name is Kenan. Hello. He has almost 16 years experience for his art. He's young, but he made our family record, a very big plate he made. He's going to show us how we shape the plates by using the plaster mold here. We have to use molds because white clay is very soft, and also for painting we need very smooth surface. So we use the molds and make it perfectly. Let's watch him, please. Approximately half an hour later, we can separate the plate from the mold. It looks like to this one, like you see, very smooth surface. Unfortunately, while it's drying, most of them has small problems, like 50% is loose, but we can reuse it, reuse the clay. If it dries perfectly, we polish it by using sandpaper. Ottoman miniatures designs started to use last of the 14th centuries, especially after Concord Istanbul. most of the religions started to leave each other and they break the rules of Islam. And they started to tell their decisions by drawing this sort of pictures. As you know, it's forbidden in our religion, drawing the human faces. But they told their lifestyles to the next generation by this sort of designs. It's really interesting and different. Telling some stories like life in the palace, engagement, hunting scenery, something like that, different designs you can see.
Because they say it's good temperature to dry. Yeah.
It's a smelly wine cave.
It feels like it. Oh, wow. Oh, you nice. Wow. Are they made up of your family?
Most of them. Yes, please come closer to here for a while. I would like to tell you something else. Of this room and the next room over there. Next room has the lower quality pieces, the beginner artist pieces, the trainers. This room has the highest quality ones, all of them made by the artist who has over 20-25 years experience, very good quality and very intricate pieces you can find in this part. For our family, the most special thing to produce, as my uncle made one for you, the wine decanter is this one. They use it in the ceremonies, as I told you before. They serve the wine on their wrist, like this, to the goblets, sometimes from the bottles there. It's really interesting, but really difficult to make this shape. With the larger ones, bigger ones. This is one of the record one. It's 75 centimeter, but we have 1 meter one over there in the middle, you can see. They put it onto their shoulder and serve it like this.
What capacity is it?
This one can about 5 liters. 6 bottles of wine.
6 bottles of wine. I don't want to be near these. Actually, that would be the decoration.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
$150 Turkish lira.
Pounds? These are the Ottoman miniature ones.
Minus 30% of that.
Yeah. 6 cents. 540. 225 pounds. This is also very well glazed, very well painted. Little dust on it, but we don't charge extra money for the dust. It's the tail of the horse.
Well, before we get our lunch break now, we'll make a photo stop in Derbent Valley. So that's the valley that we have a number of pinnacles that, when you just maybe concentrate the top of these formations, you may catch up some imaginations. See how many that you can, find out. And after this, we're going to have a short drive to Zelve, which is on our right side at the bottom of that mountains, and have a picnic lunch today. Nature itself. Just the caves, as I told you. All other formations, like you see thousands of them here, that's all created by nature itself. see those which are still now standing up. So these are much harder, maybe comparing to maybe down to the bottom of the valley on our left. So you had hard, medium, maybe soft. So the soft ones getting still washed down. And the cracks, that's the nature of the tufa, you know, millions of year time as they were cooling off. And then it may happen, you know, those cracks. And the winter, as the water freeze, and then those cracks would get wider and wider, and then the pieces start falling apart. So that's why yesterday at the museum, if you remember the convent, you know, that at the beginning of our visit, that you could see actually the rooms from outside today. But originally, it was all one thing, and you wouldn't be able to see the inside of these rooms at all. Now I can see a big camel on our left. As a Turkish one, as a dromedary. Huh? Okay, here we now make a stop so you can just walk a bit up and down and then see how many animals that you can, you know, pick up. And there is also one that it looks like the image of Madonna.
Yeah, sure.
Part of the area called Uç Hisar. You can see people up on top of it, but we don't let our guests go that far because a month ago somebody fell down and you know, died. So because it's really not safe to go up there, but we'll see that area, that from now a nice terrace, and this would be the second largest community after Zelve, where we had, you know, our lunch.
People too long, you become like them.
It's quite fantastic, isn't it? Look. Make your use of it.
of sheep there. Very clean.
That's a hotel, so you can stay at the hotel over there.
Yeah.
Obus.
So our bus will be parked just by the jewelry store over there.
Safety first.
I know.
Oh, no, it's a bit. Okay.
So this is Pigeon Valley, but I think we've really stopped here because on the opposite side of the road is the jewellery store.
Right, page 3 and...
So we've got a mini movie set down here. Perhaps some local soap they're filming or something? Who knows?
Maybe, yeah.
Camera action. Don't know about the lights, there's probably too much of those. Anyway.
Making a movie down there.
Yeah.
The one right in front of the last row.
Yes, he goes movie in the last row.
Normal houses mixed amongst them.
Well, I was looking at our group photo. It's a nice frame. Beautiful, beautiful. So we can see everyone in the picture. That's good. That's a good photo. I don't know how many thousands of pictures I have at home so far. But I keep all of them. I keep all of them.
And of course you can name us all.
Oh, it was that woman, or that was man. Isa, yes. I'm going to circle him. Right. Isa. That looks very nice. If you want my signature, so please you queue up at the next.
How much do you charge?
Focus companies.
To Ankara, our capital city, the political center of Turkey, or the city of bureaucrats. Probably a lot of people in Ankara, working in Ankara, they will be working in the government, offices, in ministries, or in military offices, because the office of Commander-in-Chief is in Ankara too. And the head office of Navy, Air Forces, Land Forces, Gendarme, like a Pentagon. And our National Assembly for sure. By the way, in our political structure we have only one house. One house, we call it as the National or Grand National Assembly. So those who like to stay in the city center, so we're gonna drop them in the center, which is called Kızılay. Kızılay, that's the center that we're gonna drop you. Or those who are not on the excursion and like to go to the hotel. So our driver, will continue to the hotel. 5 kilometers, we'll be driving along that salt lake. And they do extract salt, by the way, from there for chemical purposes, and also the salt that we use, at home.
This is a very large salt lake that we're going past here. See it on the horizon there probably.
Points, and if you just get 100 points within 1 year time, so they will take your license back.
Entering Ankara now. This is a fairly new part.
Well, this big blue building on the right side says this is Turkish radio and television. studios and the head office of the state television and radio. Mountains, it's like a big basin, and the city just sitting at the bottom of that. So just last 25 or 30 years time, so we have those, you know, areas where we are now being developed. A statement, a report that now that party who is in governing now, that might be closed down. You probably maybe heard that in the media. So let's see, all the cameramen, everybody's here just to get some news for their TV stations. And we have a tower now. It is like on our right now, if you look at 1 o'clock way, built in 1987, and it's called Ata Kule. And the number of, say, some of the embassies. So we have the embassies in Ankara, and the one of UK, United Kingdom, is right here. See that, the black iron fenced area on the left, that's the UK embassy. And on the right side, as we said before, the grounds of the presidential apartments. And the Prime Minister's residence also located here, right on this White House on the left side. If you can see the tree through the trees on the left, that big house there on the left, that's the Prime Minister's house. And the main entrance of the presidential apartments is here. See, there's a security, the guard, the police there. So from, this is called the Çankaya area. Now from here we'll be heading towards the center, and that will be also that, you know, the boulevard that we're going to enter that. See, the Prime Minister and the President, they're always watching the city of Ankara, see, from that beautiful hilltop. No. So this is where we have all the ministries and like the Pentagon area, and that avenue on the left, it leads to the mausoleum. So we appreciate that you just move a bit quickly. We're now occupying the public bus station for a short while. Yep. So this is always a busy, square, as you see. Just lunchtime for them, yeah. The officers close it. Here's the monument on the left, a deer and the two bulls. So you will see the original one. It's much smaller and displayed in the museum and found in the capital city of the Hittite kingdom in Hattusha. And here we have a few faculties of Ankara University on the right hand side of that faculty of geography, history, and English language and literature, French and German.
That's the main
and
courthouse.
One Polytechnical High School, that red building on the right. And neighbors to the Ankara radio station. Now they're renovating that. But it's kind of like a very prominent in Ankara that it's called the Youth Park, but now goes into quite an extensive restoration program. It's right there, that's the entrance of that. Now on the left we have one of the oldest state bank. It's called Ziraat Bank. Still they are working in it. And then comes the Central Bank of Turkish Republic. This next brown building on left. But the government is planning to move the head office of Central Bank to Istanbul in the next few years' time. That's where also the Republic was declared by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, by the founder of the Republic, on 29th of October 1923. So today, 29th of October and 23rd of April, and these are two of our national days.
Building obviously undergoing considerable repair.
So in the center of Ulus, on the right hand side, you'll see a statue of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk on our right now. Then two soldier statues symbolizing or representing Turkish armed forces, and a lady behind carrying a big heavy shell, so that symbolize the Turkish woman that who involved in it. So that statue mounted here on the 5th anniversary of the Turkish Republic in the center of Ankara. Because Ankara in 1920s, it was a very small, let's say, town that had about 15 or 20,000 people. And if you look through the aisle of the bus, you see there is a hilltop ahead of us. That was the Acropolis of ancient Ankara, or the ancient city of Angora, Ankara. That's where it was. So today we still have the walls that are going around that hilltop today. Our first visit and the stop at the Anatolian Civilization Museum. And you can leave your bags here on the bus, because Serdar is going to come back later and take us from the museum.
Téléphone as well. Where's your telephone?
See, there were actually nothing around here. So this was originally a bazaar. The central part of the museum was a bazaar that founded in about 15th century and selling mainly textile or
That
textile
entrance
goods in that
is this
bazaar.
entrance.
So early 1970s they turned into a museum, but it turned into indeed really a fantastic collection, especially on Hittite, artifacts. Oops. Hello. Hello. Hello. Where we have Turkey today. Well, we remember we were using the word Asia Minor, or let's say Anatolia. So the earliest findings, it goes back almost, see how old or ancient, and until the end of Ice Age. That's especially, let's see those places. And then the New Stone Age. Remember that place I mentioned to you on the bus one day, south of Konya? That's probably the best Neolithic site they found discovered in our world today. And the first farmers of Turkey, or of the world, we can say, actually the beginning of Hittite, it comes from the word Hatti. Hatti was the name of a people that living in central Turkey about 3rd millennium before Christ. That they all merged up with the new migrations that came through here, or came through Crimea and came from east, and then got a new dominance in the central Turkey, having this city as their new capital, Boğazköy in today's Turkish, or in the Hittite name was Hattusha. And then the Phrygians, over here mainly, and tomorrow we go here and see this largest tumulus of that famous king that you all learned at school. Midas, that's right. That was his city and his kingdom there. So the Hittites, that great, the rulers of Anatolia, they ended up with the Phrygians. Maybe you haven't seen that expression before. That's the spelling, over there. And then a number of Hittites moving down to Upper Mesopotamia. This is the Upper Mesopotamia over here. And another major culture in the west, Lydia. Their capital is Sardis today. Giving a birth. Just found in that, condition, except I think the face, the head, and the head of one leopard added later, but all the body, it's all, found in that condition. Now, from this, turn into such a number of figures, all the same idea. Mother God.
You said you are allowed, didn't you?
The great emotion, or even they had found the dominant of God. And we said they were beating, and I see those seals. See, they're just steps. Color them, but then they're just.
It's 5,000 years old fertility symbol.
like the evil eye that we have today, keeping you, protecting you from the evil spirits. That will be your protection. Carry one on you and found in the capital city of the Hittites, and it was a gate decoration. There were actually two of them that decorated one of the entrances of the city. This is the original one, so we have a reproduction on the sides today. See, very strong legs, and something looked like, where's my Scottish friends, like a kilt, right? Or the Romans also had, isn't it? Something like that too. And the style of the sword. See the one on the top? Drinking cup is made in